Hey everyone, and welcome. You know that dream, right? The one where you're generating income automatically, living a life that isn't completely tied to a 9 to 5 grind? Well, so many people just give up on that idea because they hear passive income and they immediately think it's some super high-risk, complicated thing. But today, we're going to bust that myth wide open. Okay, let's dive into a really practical, step-by-step roadmap to build your very first automated income system.
This is the big idea, isn't it? The core promise. The thought that you can build something that works for you 24/7. Now, this isn't some kind of magic trick. It's about building a smart system. We're going to move right past the hype of passive income and get into the reality of what an automated income system truly is.
So what are we actually building here? Let's be super clear. An automated income system is a way to make money that after you do the hard work up front, only needs maybe a few hours a week at most to keep it running smoothly. The goal here is for you to take the skills and the knowledge you already have and turn them into your first digital asset. Things like an ebook, a really useful template, or even a mini course.
So here's the game plan for today. First, we're going to tackle the dream versus the reality of this whole thing. Then, we'll walk through the 3 big steps: finding your idea, automating the system, and what to do with the profit. And we'll wrap it all up with the very first step you can take today. It's a clear path to get you started.
All right, first things first. Before we can build anything, we have to get really honest about what we're dealing with. It's so important to understand the truth behind the term passive income, because honestly, this is where most people get tripped up and just quit.
Okay, let's just cut through all the noise. The myth you see everywhere is that this is some kind of magic button for free money, zero effort required. The reality? Nope. It's all about intense, super focused effort up front during the building phase. You invest your time and your skill now to build a system that frees up your time later. That's the trade.
So you might be wondering, why is now the perfect time to do this? Well, it's because of this massive technological shift we're living through. Tools like AI and all these new digital platforms mean that one person, you, can build a pretty sophisticated system in a fraction of the time it used to take. What once required a whole team and a big budget can now be done from your laptop.
And really, it all boils down to this simple, powerful framework. It's just 3 steps: picking the right idea, automating the whole system, and then smartly investing the profits. So let's break down that very first one.
All right, let's get into step 1, finding your big idea. A huge mistake people make is they just jump into a market that's already jam-packed. The smart way to do it is to find the gap. And you do that by combining something you're already good at with a problem people are genuinely desperate to solve.
So how do you actually do this? It's pretty straightforward. First, just list 3 problems you've personally struggled with and actually solved. Maybe you mastered a complicated piece of software, or you learned a niche skill. These are real pain points. Then, you match your unique skills to one of those problems and package your solution as a digital asset.
And I really want you to let this sink in. This first step, idea selection, it demands your full, undivided attention. The source material makes this incredible point. Just 1 full day of uninterrupted deep work on this step alone can literally save you 6 months of wasted time and energy down the line. That's an insane return on your focus.
Okay, moving on to step 2, automating your system. Once you've locked in your idea, this is where you build the engine. This is where you create the asset and set up all the sales automation so it can run without you having to constantly push buttons and pull levers.
And here's your toolkit for making it happen. You can use AI to help you generate outlines and rough drafts, which frees you up to really focus on the good stuff. Then, you use e-commerce platforms like Gumroad or Teachable to handle all the payments and delivery automatically. And you can even use AI to draft an FAQ page to handle most of those common customer questions for you. Now, for a system to actually last, it has to evolve. And this brings us to this really powerful concept from Japanese wisdom called Kaizen, which basically means continuous improvement. It's not about being perfect on day 1. It's about making small, consistent improvements over time.
So how do you actually use Kaizen? Well, you launch with what's called a minimum viable system. Just get your version 1.0 out there. Then you listen to customer feedback and use that info to make it better and better. The goal is always progress, not perfection. It's a big part of why so many Japanese products are so highly valued around the world.
And that brings us to the final step. And this is the one that really secures your freedom. Step 3 is all about investing your profit. This is how you build a defensive wall around your time. The money from your system isn't just for spending.
It's a tool to buy back your time.
And this chart shows the core financial discipline you've got to have. As soon as that automated income starts to flow, you set up an automatic transfer. A rule: at least 50% of the profit goes directly into a separate investment account, completely walled off from your day-to-day spending money.
And what this does is it creates this powerful growth cycle, kind of like a flywheel. Use the other 50% to reinvest, either by improving your current system or by learning the skills to build a new one. Once your first system is stable, you just repeat the process. You build a second, then maybe a third, and that's how you diversify and make your time freedom even more secure.
Now, looking way down the road, the author of our source material shares a little bit of their own personal, more speculative practice. As just one small part of their long-term plan, they invest a little into cryptocurrency. They say, "I don't know exactly what the future holds for crypto, but I believe it will shine." Now, this is just one example of thinking about future growth, but only after your core system is stable and profitable. Okay, we've covered the entire roadmap. We've gone from busting the big myth all the way to a concrete 3-step plan. Now it's all about turning this knowledge into actual real-world action. Let's bring it all home.
So let's lock this roadmap in with one final recap. First, you use deep focus to find a real market gap that your unique skills can fill. Second, you build and automate the entire system using AI and digital tools. And third, you invest the income that system generates to protect and multiply your most valuable asset of all, your time.
Look, this isn't some far-off dream. It's the result of a smart, focused process. And that brings us to the final and most important question. This one is for you. What existing skill do you have right now? And based on this roadmap, what automated income system are you going to build first? I'd love to see what you come up with. Thanks for watching.